Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today I want to talk to you about something really, really important. Today I want to talk to you about making your priorities a priority. Okay, making your priorities a priority. What is that? Well, let me tell you a little story. This one's a very personal story that's near and dear to my heart. Several years ago, my dad was diagnosed with colon cancer. And when he was diagnosed, his life changed. Things that he was doing, hanging out with friends, the job he loved, free time, things that he would take for granted, all of it had to come to a screeching halt. He had to go through surgery, then he went through chemotherapy, and he went through this long process that was drawn out over a couple years. Finally, after all that time, after feeling sick, after throwing up, after putting his life on hold, after spending all that time not doing things that he really wanted to do, after having over 2 years to think about life and death and how if he could just make it through this, he would start doing the things he always wanted to do. After all that time, my dad was declared completely cancer-free. He had survived, he had beaten it, and now he had this new lease on life. And my dad was really, really excited to live. He was really excited to start making his priorities a priority. All the things he had put off before, all the things that he'd say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. All the things that he said there was going to be another time. All those things that he'd always wanted to do, even simple things like calling me more regularly, spending more time with friends. He was ready to make those a priority. 2 weeks after my dad was declared in remission from cancer, he dropped dead. 2 weeks. So my dad went from this high of thinking all of a sudden he's beaten cancer, he's got his whole life in front of him now to make his priorities a priority, to just like that, it was gone. I share this with you now because we never know when we are going to draw our last breath. We just don't. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be 10 years from now, it could be 100 years from now. We just don't know. But what we do know is that right now in this moment, we have an opportunity to make a priority of ours a priority. After my dad had died, my mom sent me this backpack he had bought. And it was a backpack that he was going to take on a camping trip. And while I was going through cleaning it out, I found this list that my dad had made. And on this list, there was all these things that he had wanted to do. Places he wanted to go, supplies he'd want to need for them, all sorts of things. It was a priority of my dad's that he never got a chance to realize because he didn't make it a priority when he could have. We have to make our priorities a priority while we can. Sure, is there going to be things, and I know people are going to say, oh, Jesse, well, what about my trip to Rome? That costs money. Yeah, you may not be able to financially afford to go to Rome right now, but it doesn't mean you can't start prioritizing your life in a way to make Rome happen soon. It doesn't mean that there are not concessions you can make, sacrifices you can make. It doesn't mean there's behaviors that you cannot change to start saving and start planning and start strategizing for Rome. It doesn't mean that you can't start acting as if you're already on your way to Rome. Going around looking at the places you want to go, starting to dream about, starting to make it more real instead of focusing on how far off it is. And in the meantime, while you're building up to those bigger priorities like going to Rome, you can focus on the everyday priorities that you can make a priority right now. Things like calling the people who you love and telling them how much they mean to you. Stopping and telling somebody, a friend in your life or a coworker who adds value to your life, just how much you appreciate them. Taking that time, setting aside that 30 minutes a day to exercise. Saying no to the crappy food and instead bringing in a bunch of good, delicious food. Not waiting until tomorrow to start studying for a new test or developing a new skill. Right? Not putting off until the next day or waiting until chance until you can start to put together the pieces that are going to make your life better. We all have emails that we could answer. If we answer them today, it'll help us advance our life tomorrow. Let's do them now while we can. We all have people that matter most that if we just gave them a little bit more time, it would make our life feel more complete and fulfilled. Do it. Take that extra minute to go watch the sunset. Wake up a few minutes earlier to watch the sunrise. Make your priorities a priority now while you can. I promise you this. You will never regret a day when you made your priorities a priority. But you will regret arriving to your end of your life and realizing that you did not make your priorities a priority. Don't realize that regret. Make your priorities a priority now while you can. I'll talk to you all soon.